Hey everybody, good evening. It's Ellen Lewis from Crazy for You. And tonight I am very excited to share with you Noro's two new yarns for spring summer 2024. I think you're really going to like them. Cotton blends. We've seen a lot of movement in Noro in recent years to responding to the softness call, and we started with Sonata a few years ago, which is a blend of cotton and silk and polyamide. And we've been seeing a lot of that super, super soft yarns with not a speck of wool in it. And they are just beautiful. So this season, there are two yarns. They are Noro Compito and Noro Natsumeki, and they are both just lovely. The difference between them is there's a slight difference in the fiber content, but the big difference and the thing that you'll notice the most is the way the coloration goes. So one of the things that's been super popular in Noro in the past has been the Silk Garden sock, and especially now the Silk Garden sock tweed. And we saw something like that when we saw Kakagori come out for the spring. And this new yarn, Kompeito, reminds me very much of that. So I think you're really, really going to like that. Natsumeki is a little bit more of a traditional Noro color shift yarn, again with the beautiful cotton silk blend, a little bit of polyamide, and both of them thrown in for strength and elasticity. But they're really lovely, and I think you're going to like that. So the first part of this video, I want to share with you the yarns, my little swatches, and go over the colors and the gauge and all of that. And in the second part of the video, I want to share with you some patterns from unlikely, well, maybe not so unlikely, but some sources that you haven't seen. So stay tuned for that because I think you're really going to like them. So thank you guys for joining me. Let's see who we have here. I have Rita. Hi, Rita, and Kat. Nice to see you. Terry, Sandy, hey, Irina, and Barbara, nice to see you, and Marcia, my goodness. So, and I know that there are a bunch of you watching that haven't said hi. If you're just shy, that's okay, I understand. But it is really nice to kind of connect, and that's why I go live. You know, I do these live videos because I love the interaction from you. I love being able to see your responses. I love being able to answer your questions. And so if you have a minute and you want to say hi, that's great. And as we go through this, if you have questions about the yarn, please don't hesitate to put them in the chat so that I can answer them for you. So, hey, Amelia and Arlene. Let's see what Denise has to say. I'm so excited to see the new yarn. I am a Noro yarn collector. Haven't knit anything with it yet. That is okay. I'm having a problem with my camera focusing on my face. I made some changes in my camera setup. I bought another Canon camera because I thought having another DSLR camera here at the desk might be really helpful. But what I've noticed is that in the settings, it's got some issues with back and forth in terms of the focal length. And I'm concerned about there being a lag. I didn't want to test it tonight, but I will be testing it in the future. And then you guys can tell me if there's a lag when, between what you see in like with my mouth moving and what you hear in the audio. So I would be interested in knowing that. I'm hoping it is not the case, but it seems like the more fancy the software and all this stuff, kind of the worse and more challenging it gets, but we'll work through it. All right. So yes, I see that my camera is going blurry. I'm going to have to do something about that, but not tonight. I'll just try to hold still. Okay. So wanted to talk first about Kompeito. These are both they're both worsted weight yarns. They have a gauge of 19 to 21 stitches over 4 inches, which puts them solidly in the worsted gauge. But I do think that there's a whole lot of play. I swatched both of them on a size 6 needle, which is going to give me about 22 stitches over 4 inches, because I just like to see what the range is. I know that they can go also looser. So I swatched them at 6, I swatched them at 7, and I'll share that with you. But the thing that's really most exciting, I think, is the colors. You've seen a little bit about the colors when I put the garments out that I had in the kits and the newsletter, and that I looked at last week and the week before. So you know sort of what the colors are, but let's just sort of go through and look at each of them one by one. Does that sound good? Okay. Hey, Gwen, nice to see you. All right. So Kompeito has colors 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I did manage to bring all of those in, and I think they're all really pretty. So again, they remind me very much of the Silk Garden sock solo, and a little bit of Kompeito, but a little bit less of the fleck. Did I say Kompeito? They remind me a lot of Kakagori, but there's less of that kind of tweedy effect. It's more of an overall kind of tonal and maybe a little bit of a marl in there. So super pretty. Okay, so this is color 1. Let me take the tag off. Okay, this is color 1. And this is definitely kind of their neutral. I think holding it that close to the light maybe blurs it out, but you can see that there's a lot of really pretty colors in here. There's magenta and baby blue and green and kind of a purple, but its base yarn, as I see it, is kind of a gray. Do you know what I mean? So um, all of these yarn colorways have sort of a base color and other colors worked into them. And like I said, color 1 is the gray, right? So super pretty. And this is the color I believe that is used in that pattern from the Outtakes book that I had, that it was so popular, the one that Amy Briggs bought. So super pretty. That's color 1. And then the next color, which of course is my favorite, has a little bit warmer and maybe a little bit of a pink tone to it. So I would say, ooh, yes. Let's see. Sandy asked a great question. Rita, is that the color you used? So this is color 3. And it looks similar to color 1, believe it or not. They are actually different. Color 3 is a little warmer. I would say that the base color here is more like a pinky beige. Okay? But you can see here that it has all these different kind of colors in it. And like I said, warmer than color 1. But you see what I'm saying about it having a kind of an overall tone, and then colors that work with it. Ooh, that blurry is not good. Come on me. Okay. Okay, that's 1 and 2. And then 3 is definitely a yellow. All right, so here's 3. Same color additions, but color 3's main color is, or color 4's main color is this yellow. Okay, so those of you who are not part of this conversation, I wanted to share with you, Rita did a beautiful sweater in color 1. And then for those of you who know Amy did the same sweater and she used color 3. So again, I think they're both really close. And I think if you look at the Club Crazy for You community, you can see the photos and see that they're in a large scale. They're a little bit different. Okay, so color 4 is the yellow, and color 5, yeah, this is color 5. This is a green. I think it looks a little washed out so close to the camera, but can you see that it is it's a green? Again, with the little bits of pink. I think in the green, the other colors are less pronounced and you have more of an overall green tone here with fewer of the, the extra colors. So here is color 3, and you can see that you have a little more color shift here. All right, so that's color 5. This one is color 6. This is absolutely gorgeous, possibly my favorite, of course. This is sort of a pinky purpley color. Definitely pink. Yeah, I think this is pretty. So yes, Denise asked, yes, it is it's maybe a little warmer than a mint green. Mint to me seems a little cool. This is maybe a little warmer than a mint green, but yeah, very pretty. Yes, 5 is 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 5 is very pretty. Yeah, they're all really lovely. So again, this one is possibly my favorite. This is very pink, and you can see this does have a decent amount of color shift. You can see that when you look into the end of it. You've got pink going to kind of this little neutral, uh, black and purple. But this definitely reads kind of overall pink to me, right? In the way that the green one read overall green, this reads overall pink. Ooh, Ginny. My own Ginny Stein is in beautiful Costa Rica. What time is it in Costa Rica, Ginny? All right. And the next one, color 7, this is called ube. And I know that ube is a kind of a purple sweet potato. This is color 7, and this is very solidly purple. So very pretty. Again, very little color shift on these. This is much more of a kind of a solid, right? You do have some of the blue and maybe a little bit of light and dark, but not a lot. This is the color that is used in the Carlton sweater that I put together in the kit that was in the newsletter. So that's a very pretty one. And then this last one is kind of interesting. This is color 8, and this is, well, obviously this is blue. Very little color shift, but you can see the kind of the flecks, the little bit of marl of the other colors in there. But you have to look closely to see that. Yeah. So from a distance, it reads blue. But when you get close up, it's a very sophisticated and more complicated palette. I mean, all of these yarns, I think, have that aspect to them, that when you are looking at them at a distance, you see one color, but when you get close up, they're a little more subtle and sophisticated. And this is actually the one that I swatched. And you can see here on my little swatch, I did the bottom section in at like 22. I have not blocked these just because I wanted to see how this yarn would do in a DK gauge. So 19 to 21 is, as I said, solidly worsted, but I still think it's nice. It doesn't feel too stiff and heavy at 22. And then here I am at 20, which is right in the sweet spot. And it's a very nice fabric. I think you probably could go up, maybe go to almost 18 with this. But here at 7, it's a very nice, very comfortable structural kind of gauge. And can you see the little flecks in the fabric as we do that? I think it's very nice. Yeah. So I think that's a really pretty yarn. As I said, we know the gauge. It is 19 to 21, and it has a decent yardage. This is put up in 150-gram skeins, and I did have the yardage written down, but I'm going to have to check on this. So it's 450 meters. So it's almost 500 yards in a skein. And what's nice about that is a lot of your accessory patterns, like some of your medium-sized shawls, call for like 500 yards. And it's really nice to be able to have some one skein projects. So I think that's really nice. It's a good, so it's more yardage than like a skein of sock yarn. Well, yeah, but it's 150 grams. So it kind of works. And you need like 3 for most projects, 4 for in the extra large 2x range, but in your extra small, small, medium, and large sizes, pretty much 3 skeins is going to give you everything that you need to make a summer top. So I think that's cool. Ooh, Betty loves to knit in cotton. Okay, so Betty and Donna are both in sunny places, so I know that they love cotton yarn, right? Cotton is nice and cool to wear. Okay, so let's look at Kompeito. Kompeito starts, their colors start at color 2, and this is definitely more your traditional striping. Okay, I'm going to come clean and tell you that I was at the shop today and I was pulling the colors to bring, and I thought I had brought color 2, but color 2 and color 6 look so much alike that I accidentally picked up 2 color 6s. So I don't have color 2 to show you here today. But if you saw the newsletter, it is the color that is used in Sandy Prosner, Sandy Posner's poncho cardi, which is super cute. And if I have a chance, I'll bring that up and show you. But it's definitely kind of blue and pink and really pretty. And I have it on the website if you want to go and look at that. So I apologize for not having that color here. But this is color 3. Very pretty, kind of greenish, completely more in line with what you expect from Noro, you know? More of the color shift. But still, I think, with it being a cotton, they're going to take the dyes a little less strongly. So you can get away with some of these brighter colors without it looking as garish as it might if it were on an all wool project, an all wool fiber. So yay, I'm glad you like them, Peggy. Peggy, and nice to see you. Peggy in Arizona, welcome. And Sally, love them all. Yeah, I feel exactly the same way. I had such a hard time. I could pick anything to swatch, and I have such a hard time deciding, ooh, which one am I going to swatch? So, as it happened, I picked this one to swatch. Very surprising. This is color 4. And this is where we're starting to get into some of those more bright. I don't think Yeah, I guess that comes out as kind of coral. This is solidly a coral color. I think it might be looking a little more orangey. It does on my screen anyway. It looks a little more orangey, but this is definitely a reddish coral. Beautiful color. Yeah, this is pretty true, I guess. Um, less orangey than it's showing up here. Tell me in the chat if this is looking more orangey or kind of coral red. Anyway, so this is the one that I swatched. It's just a lovely yarn. It's lovely to work with. Um, it has a great flexibility, and I know it's going to block really nicely. It's got a decent amount of bounce in the fabric, but cotton yarn doesn't have any give. So it is going to be more like knitting with a cotton yarn because it's a cotton yarn. Plus it's a single ply, so you have less elasticity. So generally speaking, when you knit these, you're going to want to be working on a smaller needle than you might imagine. Okay, so this is color 4, and this is that green and kind of coral color. Very pretty. That is featured in one of the Outtakes magazines. Okay, this is color 5. All right, and this one, clearly lots of colors here. You got a solid purple bit right here. You've got aqua, you've got some of that pinky color, you've got some gold. I think this is very, very traditionally Noro, very typical Noro, where you have colors in there and you think, ugh, I don't know why that color is in there. I don't like it. I wish I could cut it out. But you find that if you do that, you're going to be really sad. The colors are not going to play as nicely. So yeah, this is a very pretty one. This is very Japanese looking, I think. And that one is color 5. Okay. Color 6. This reminds me very much of the colorway in Tasogari that we had last season in Tasogari, their wool. This is definitely kind of blue and gray. This is where you find my thinking about Noro. I'll often say it is that knitting with Noro is like mining for precious gems because you have all of this gray and sort of neutral color, and then you have this beautiful pop of blue kind of right, where's my hand, right here, and it just shimmers, and it stands out so beautifully against those other kind of neutrally tones. So I like that. And then this one is super pretty. This is color 8. This is pretty because this is kind of purple. So purple and sort of an acid green. This is featured in 2 of the garments in the magazine and in the outtakes. And then this one, this is very interesting. This is teal and pink and black, kind of a turquoise. So I think that's really nice. Amelia likes the blue and the gray. Yep. Yeah. I think they're all really, really, really lovely. So what I wanted to share with you now is some designs that I found that I think would be beautiful for both of these yarns. Let me tell you a little secret. Once upon a time, the people in the United States that distribute Noro, KFI, hired professional designers to create collections for the new yarn each season. And one of those designers was Jenny Watson. And she's absolutely an amazing designer. And I loved her stuff. But she went off on her own to do her own thing. But the fact is that she designed a lot of things for Noro, and a lot of them are in the same gauge. So I went back and I looked for Jenny Watson designs in this gauge, and I came up with quite a few that I thought would be absolutely lovely. And yes, they are old. They are probably 10 years old, but that doesn't mean that they aren't still beautiful and classic designs that you could knit now and wear forever. So let me share some of those with you. I didn't do a presentation or anything, so I just wanted to share these. Okay, so this is called Bouquet. This is just a pretty little lace cardigan, and that would be perfect in Natsumeki. And all of these are available on Ravelry, and if you want a list of these, you can email me and I will email you them. So this is called Bouquet. This one's called Jewels. Similarly, a very nice cardigan. It's cropped. Notice that there is no attempt at all to match the Noro across the front of this cardigan. And it looks great. You get a wonderful color block kind of effect here, which I think is really pretty. This is a pullover overall lace pattern. Very pretty. Would be great in the Natsumeki. Of course, it is striped, You could do it in the Kompeito, but it would not have those kinds of stripes. This is a crocheted. So this is sort of the crochet version of Bouquet. So if you're a crocheter, I think this is a really good option. This is Alexandra. Pretty little summer tank or summer top, like a little tee with some interest here at the sleeve. Look at this full screen. Oops. It's not really letting me zoom in very much, is it? But anyway, you can see that there is a pretty little lace trim or cabled trim around the cuff that I think is very attractive. And that simple stockinette is going to highlight the colors of the Natsumeki. Okay, quick question from Betty Knight. The last one that I showed was color 8 in the Natsumeki. And this, I think, is gorgeous. I think maybe, Gwen, didn't you knit this? This would be very pretty in the Kompeito. It is just a little tank top from an earlier magazine. This isn't one of the ones that I pulled from Jenny Watson. The designer here is Pat Olsky, and I think this is a beautiful garment. I've wanted to knit this for a long time, and I may work this in Kompeito. Here's another one by Jenny Watson. This is a little more geometric. The lace in this is a little more angular, and I think all of these are a good demonstration of the fact that you can knit stitch patterns in Noro and still see them. People get confused because the prevailing wisdom is that you should not knit stitch patterns or complicated stitch patterns like lace and so forth in um, variegated yarns. But remember that Noro isn't truly a variegated, it's self-striping. So your eye is only ever looking at one color at a time. So it isn't distracting to the lace pattern the way that a variegated yarn would be. So I think this is really pretty. Again, that's called floral. Here's another one. I like this because it has lace at the bottom and then solid at the top, which is really super attractive. And it's a long line. I think this is a great flattering look. Beautiful. That's crochet. This is a super easy top. Any of you who have knit Keisha, this is very similarly constructed to the Keisha sweater with that center panel. This is nothing but really two rectangles put together. So this is a super easy beginner project. And that would be pretty in the Natsumeki. Now here we go. This is something Jenny Watson did in a yarn that's been discontinued. It was called Tokonatsu, but it is very much like Kompeito. It's a cotton blend with just some textural interest in the yarn, and I think it's lovely, right? I think that would be great in the uh, in the Kompeito. Here's another one from Jenny that would be nice in the Natsumeki. All of these could be knit in either one, but I'm just saying if you're looking for the striping effect and to see how that would go. So this is pretty with an alternate lace and stockinette section. And a little vest. Just a great little design. And yes, Donna, before you ask, you could just knit that and wear it as a top. Absolutely. And if you needed to make it longer, you absolutely could. So this is just simple and easy, but very pretty, right? Okay. And this is a cute little top that I pulled. This was originally knitted in Silk Garden Solo, but this would be beautiful in the Kompeito for summer. And this would be a great little top. Don't know that I'd wear it as a like a layering piece, like it with something under it, but you could. But that the textural aspect of the yarn is not bothering that stitch pattern at all. That would be fun to knit. Okay, this is Amelia. Ooh, this has your name on it, Amelia. All right, and this just has some cables here. And you could make these sleeves shorter if you want. And again, for our climate here in the mid-Atlantic, these would be all season garments. I think they would work, spring or fall. And then some of the patterns that are not specifically designed for Noro, but I think would work, is of course pressed flowers, which is beautiful. You want to use a self-striping Noro. I think it would maybe be better with yukata, but you could do it with the Natsumeki. Very pretty. This is from a fairly recent Noro magazine, but this would work in the Natsumeki. Little lacy crop top. Then I think I have some that are Yeah. I still love this, and I think this is beautiful. And I did pull it for today, but I think it would probably be better in the slightly finer yarn. I would want to knit this in yukata, which is lovely. But isn't this a great example of how short rows create a lovely shoulder line? I had a customer knit this when it came out in the Silk Garden sock, and it was just tremendous. And I love the idea of reimagining these same garments in a different yarn. Shows the versatility. And I love the idea of a crocheted skirt. I think this would be absolutely fantastic for summer. I know Amy Soderberg is a big skirt knitter, so yay. And this one is not designed for a Noro, but I think this would be absolutely gorgeous in a Noro. It's worked sideways, very reminiscent of the Hannah Falkenberg garments that we used to carry. Ginny, I know, knit a kit on this. It's worked with short rows, and you get this beautiful um, striping effect in the back. Isn't that spectacular? Oh, I just love that. And I think Noro is the perfect answer for that. And I think that's all that we had. So I wanted to get back to this one. This one is just called Tank Top by Pat Olsky. Donna, to answer your question. And yeah, let's see. I had one more question from Peggy. Okay, so the cardigan that I'm wearing. So the cardigan that I'm wearing is just your basic, it's a top-down wrap cardigan by Diane Susie, who designs for Knitting Pure and Simple. It's one of the only top-down cardigans that I've ever knit that I really, really like. In fact, I knit two of them, and I think it's a beautiful, beautiful design. That's by Knitting Pure and Simple. And it's wonderful in the Noro because you just, I don't know, it's just really fun. And it's a sweater that I wear all the time. So thank you guys. I hope that you like this, and tell me your thoughts on these designs from 10 years ago. Do you think they still look current? I personally do. I would knit and wear any of those today. And I think that's kind of a testament to the classic kinds of designs that Jenny does and that appeal to me. So I would be interested in your thoughts. And then next time, I believe we are going to have the Noro Trunk Show, and I'm going to have some victims come on and try on the patterns, try on the garments, and show you what the different Noro garments from the current magazine look like on different people and different bodies and different personal styles. So I think that should be really fun. So don't forget to tune in next week for that. Um, yeah. So anyway, we'll see you next time, and I hope you have a wonderful week.